glad to have him with us this morning. He's our own personal injury lawyer. Happy Mardi Gras.
Good morning. Happy Mardi Gras. Yes.
Thank you very much. And we'll give you a piece of king's cake as soon as you answer some very important questions.
Well, I'm on a low-carb diet. So
Are you?
All right.
Well,
Okay, you
good
can
deal.
dream of the king cake.
That's right.
All right, we're
wonderful.
taking phone calls right now for Karl, 276-2118. He covers a variety of topics. But we're glad that you're here today, Karl.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the advertising rules. I serve on the Indiana State Bar Association Advertising Rules Committee, and
Yes.
some of the things that they're talking about, and some of the issues that we run into on both Indiana and Kentucky about attorney advertising,
Right.
And the difference in the rules. For example, Indiana just recently passed a rule, actually effective 1st of this year, where it used to be that an attorney could send a letter. You know, you look up on the on the internet website, or go look at the police station and find out who's been in an automobile accident, and then send letters advising people of their rights and different services. Indiana has just passed this rule where now an attorney has to wait 30 days
Wow.
before being allowed to send a letter. Kentucky's had that rule for a long time, so it's not new in Kentucky.
What's the purpose of the rule, Karl?
Well, the purpose of the rule is that the theory, which I don't agree with, but the idea is that people have 30 days to wait and decide, well, do I want a lawyer? Do I need a lawyer? And am I going to be harassed by a lawyer? But what that doesn't stop is being harassed by the insurance companies.
Exactly.
Because there's no restriction on insurance companies
Exactly.
to call you and try to get you to take a cheap settlement within 30 days.
And you happen to
So-
have written a book about that very issue,
That's
which is
true.
an awesome book about wolf in sheep's clothing, what the insurance companies don't want to tell you. And that's
Yeah.
important stuff that you need to know.
Yeah, and I didn't bring a copy today. We've had a tremendous response the last 2 shows where I've
Great.
talked about the book, so that's been a great response. I'm going to do more with that.
Excellent.
The other issue that we're running into, though, particularly in Kentucky, are between, lawyers do have restrictions on what they can do, but others, like, for example, chiropractors. And now we're seeing a proliferation of loan companies, people saying, well, if you're in a wreck, we can get you money today. And so they're, offering to give people loans, and then they're tied into having to go see a particular, probably a chiropractor or someone to get them in there.
Yes.
And so those are all advertising issues that are really concerning us.
Our creative
Absolutely.
services producer, Patrick Weissharp, brought his copy. He keeps it at work just in case he needs, drives a little faster. and
Wolf
some
in
advice.
sheep's clothing,
Good
and
reading
what a great it is, and you can get it for free if you don't work for a lawyer and you don't work for an insurance company.
Just call your office.
They can buy their own copy. It's
That's
going to be
right.
it's going to be on Amazon soon. It's
Okay,
being
good.
put on Amazon.
All right.
And yeah, it's a service that I'm providing to the public to try to get educate the public on different topics and insurance topics, because it's like any other preventative care. I mean, you don't wait till your car breaks down to change the oil or check
Right.
your tires. You want to know ahead of time. So this is kind of like, preventative maintenance, because I've never had someone show up in my office and say, yeah, I was planning on being in a wreck today.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
really looking forward
Yeah.
to that, and I expected to go to work and get hurt, or it's never going to happen to us. It's always going to happen to somebody else.
Speaking of which,
true.
someone who has written to you says,
Sarah.
Mr. Truman, love your book.
Oh,
Good
wonderful.
Love
deal,
your book.
Sarah. One question, though. Why is it that I am partially to blame in an accident when cars in front of me slam on their brakes and stop? It happened a few weeks ago, and they're saying I have to pay for the damage to the car I hit. It doesn't seem fair. There were 4 cars involved, and I just could not stop.
I think this happens a lot, too.
It does.
And that's a great question that I see on both sides of the equation, because, well, first of all, if you are behind someone, you have a legal duty to maintain a safe following distance. So in particularly, let's say if you're in stop-and-go traffic even, let's say you're going across the bridge and it's stop-and-go traffic, you have an obligation to anticipate that, that's stop and go, and you have to keep a safe distance. Now, on the other side of the coin, of course, let's say that, you're just driving down the road and everything's fine, and then suddenly the car in front of you, a dog runs in front of them, or for whatever unknown reason, they just suddenly slam on their brakes unexpectedly.
Yes.
and then you don't have time to erect, then you may not necessarily be completely at fault. It could be one of the legal terms that you'll hear is sudden emergency. And I hear that a lot from insurance defense lawyers in cases where my client's been hit from the rear end, and of course that's one of the insurance company defenses too, is, oh well, your client just slammed in front of them, they had no opportunity to stop, and it was a sudden emergency, so it's not their fault. Sometimes it can be a combination, because the law provides for what's called comparative fault, meaning that a jury has an opportunity to compare both sides and say, well, we think that they're both at fault, so it could be 50-50, or we think that one side is 10% and the other side is 90%, or it could be they think that the defendant is 100%. So a jury has an opportunity to allocate a portion of fault to both sides if they choose.
Okay, we've got more questions that we will have to hold for next week because our time is running out, but you can get in touch with Karl Truman easily. All you have to do is call the number on your screen, and you can also check trumanlaw.com. Ask for your free copy of Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, unless you work for a law firm or an insurance company, in which case you can buy it. Coming on Amazon soon.
That's right. That's right. Great.
All right.
Fantastic. Thanks, Karl.
Thank
Be
you
back
very
next
much.
week.
Appreciate
Sounds
you being with
good.
us.
We'll be back with more Global Live this morning right after the break.